Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. Zach, thank you very much. What is that? Is that who is the A on your head, the hat?
This is for my Alito Bearcats.
Yeah, one
big
of the,
game tonight against the Brewer Bears.
Most state championships of anybody in Texas high school football history, and they've done it with multiple coaches. Coach Buchanan was the main reason that they won a bunch of them. They're just really, really, really good. So what's a bigger story at the end of the weekend? Golish and USF, which has been a big story all week, in their game with Miami, or Napier and Florida against LSU at the end of the weekend?
It's a great question because I think most people expect Florida to lose and South Florida to lose. But I'll say if both go and the extremes are going in, South Florida. I mean, you're talking about 3 games that could change the trajectory of their university, potentially. I mean, it's a long way from here to there, but you're talking about a team that would rightly deserve to be in the top 5 in the country and possibly number 1. I mean, if we're talking resume, they would have 2 road top 10 wins and 3 top 25 wins. You'd be talking about a team that could potentially get an at-large bid, even if they don't win the American. So on the top of, they just hired a new AD. They're trying to build an on-campus, or they're in the process of building an on-campus football stadium. You're talking about potentially the new UCF, the new Boise State, yada, yada, yada. So I think they have more to gain than anyone this weekend. Florida, I mean, Billy Napier has kind of been pre-fired ever since he got the job. Florida fans, if you're not Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer, then Florida fans don't want you. So if Florida goes there and loses, that it probably it intensifies what's already happening. If they win, it probably just prolongs the inevitable, but we'll see.
On that note, Zach, I mean, there are, I would say, 3 coaches right now at major probably 4. Brent Pry, Deshaun Foster, Mike Gundy, and Billy Napier, whose seats are really, really hot. Maybe I'm wrong on Deshaun Foster, but do you expect to see this kind of kick in, this new, like the coaching cycle, maybe in the next 3 weeks or so?
That's a good question. I'm going to say no, just because the incentives now are to try to hold on to your players as much as possible. The example to the other side is obviously when Tech hired Joey on October 12th or whatever that was, so he could go ahead and start building up his roster. And obviously Tech would say that that's worked out for him. I think in this day and age, especially with it looks like we're going to move to a single portal window, I think you want to kick that can down the road as far as you can. And then you also want to give yourself time to have the next guy lined up within 4 hours, if you possibly can. The caveat to that is it depends on how your team plays. If your team's still fighting for your guy, your head coach, but it's obvious he's not going to work out, there's no reason to make a move. If it's obvious that they're quit on him and you're going to do more harm than keeping him, then you need to let him go.
Zach, how hot does it feel in Stillwater right now?
Judging by the fact that I think it was Gunner, forgive me if I have the wrong Gundy boy, but I think it was Gunner that went on and defended him and then completely nuked his whole Twitter account. I'd say it's pretty darn hot. No one denies Mike Gundy's importance to the Oklahoma State program, but you got to read the room. So I think we're at the end days at Oklahoma State, and I think if it continues going the way it's going, I believe Mike Gundy is going to be a reasonable person and say that it's been a good run, but this fight is not his fight, and they need another voice. But we'll see. But I think in my reading of it, it's so hot that it's almost cool because it's just so obvious what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's a mess, no question. I mean, it just gutted it almost.
He's got a loss at the end of last year that was 52-0, and then 69-3. I mean, he's a $7-8 million a year coach, right? Like, you don't lose games like that.
No, and the weird thing about Mike Gundy is I've seen him say this multiple times in the past is that he's more motivated to go in there and fix it when things go wrong than he is when on their high times and he's trying to maintain. I think a lot of coaches are that way. It's more fun to build than maintain, and in some ways, it's easier to build than maintain. But Gundy, to his credit, has been the most open coach that I know of that's talked about that. But the results are the results. You could say the team's not fighting for him, or you could say the team's playing way below its talent base. Either way, it's an indictment on him.
With Gundy, who we just brought up, and then, of course, Lanning is somebody that is very transparent with how he's feeling, whether he's sending a message to an opponent of his team. Who are the most, other than those two, guys that you, love them because they're not afraid to say how they feel? Because most coaches can be guarded and not so sure what they want to say.
That's a great question. Lane Kiffin will tell you how he's feeling, even if it's sometimes draped in 3 layers of irony. He'll tell you how he's feeling. Nick Saban was great in this regard. I like listening to Marcus Freeman talk, and Mike Elko is another guy that's not going to sugarcoat things. I think he did himself a lot of favors when he got to A&M to just lay it out there why he was there and what they needed to do. And I think that bought him, not that he needed it, but I think that bought him some time when he got to A&M. And we'll see what he does with it on Saturday night.
Zach, Georgia, Tennessee, Notre Dame, A&M, Clemson, Georgia Tech, just some of the major offerings. Which ones got your fancy the most this weekend?
A&M Notre Dame, for the same reason I think we all are interested in that game. It's going to be fun to sit back and just see what the Aggies have. And Notre Dame, it's a big game for A&M, but it's a bigger game for Notre Dame because their season's learned. They're playing out the string if they don't win this game. The good and the bad for Notre Dame is they don't have an opponent currently in the top 25 after this one. So even if you win out, do you have enough to make it into the playoff? But the game, as a pure neutral that I'm most interested in is Clemson, Georgia Tech. It looks like, last I checked, it looked like Haynes King's on track to play after he sat out last week but ran 19 times for 150-something yards, 3 touchdowns at Colorado. Georgia Tech's, I believe, second in the country in yards per carry among teams with at least 75 carries, which admittedly there's not a whole lot of those early. But Georgia Tech's as good as anyone running the ball. And Clemson's a team that a lot of people were talking into themselves as a national championship contender. I was one of them. I was also pointing out, why are we doing that? It's largely the same group of guys that weren't even real national championship contenders. And they can go lose this game and be 1-2 and not even in first place in their conference. Is their season over if they lose? No, of course not. But they would return immediately to where they were, of top 15 team at best. And I think Georgia Tech has a great shot to win that game.
So the story John Bryce wrote, it's on your site, footballscoop.com, about Joe Battaglia. Share a little bit about the story of, it says, from bartender to ball coach, meet one of the college football's youngest head coaches.
Yeah, I think it's funny because Dan Lanning is kind of the star of the industry right now, and his story is so interesting because he was a coach in Kansas and then got in, started working in GAing for free, and now he's at the top of the sport. And now there's so many stories of guys like that are willing to throw everything they have at coaching, whether it be willing to work for no money or leave a stable or unstable profession, but just throw everything they have at this sport and then end up getting a lot back out of it. So I think his story is really inspiring for whether you're in coaching or not. So I encourage everyone to go look it up.
Joe Moglia, of course, is a guy that kind of helped find him as well, too. So that was pretty cool. Paul, anything else for Zach? One more?
Zach, what do you think what's your biggest surprise this weekend that you think is going to happen?
Biggest surprise. We're already down this road, so I'll go ahead and say it. I think Georgia Tech knocks off Clemson and returns Clemson to where they were, and Georgia Tech announces itself as not a national championship contender, but very much a team that if they get into the playoff, that you absolutely do not want to be locked into a room with them.
You said earlier, you meant to say, and you did, that Haynes King was on track to come back. But if you would have said Haynes King is in traction, that wouldn't have been a surprise either because of how physical the guy is in beatings that he takes.
Yeah, it's kind of his gift and his curse is that in a one-game scenario, he's an absolute nightmare to play against because he's a linebacker playing quarterback. But you only have to play against him one time. He has to play that way. He didn't play last week, but in theory, 12 times a season and hopefully ACC championship and on it goes. So it's kind of the same story with John Mateer. He's a guy that John Mateer is a little bit undersized compared to Haynes King, but puts it all on the line. So in one game, it's great, but he tends to wear himself down more than he wears his opponents down over the course of an entire season.
No, there's no question about it, man. He's phenomenal. Love watching him play, and we have Pick'em, and I have Georgia Tech winning that game. The bloom is off Clemson's rose. Alito tonight playing Fort Worth Brewer. They will win that by 40 plus or so. The Bearcats will roll to a win tonight for Alito, the team with your hat on you're wearing, Zach Barnett.
I agree. It's this Alito team. Their quarterback transferred over the offseason, so they're trying to figure it out. I think they might not have 100 passing yards through 2 games total so far, but they're the Alito Bearcats, and all they do is win. So they've got wins over Denton, Geyer, and Lancaster to start the season, and I expect them to roll the poor Brewer Bears tonight.
No question they will. Thank you, buddy. Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com with us on 365 Sports.